Happy Monday, family, and welcome back to Poised for Purpose, the space where calling meets clarity and purpose becomes something you actually walk out. I'm your host, Tabitha J, and today, as we stand at the edge of a new year, we're talking about something that's actually pretty relevant to the moment, something that requires more courage than people realize, and that is the courage to pivot. You know, somewhere along the way, pivoting picked up a bad reputation. We're so quick to assume that it means that something didn't work or that we didn't have enough discipline to stay the course. And I think we just have to be careful with that, because the reality is pivoting is not quitting, and neither is it about failing. Sometimes pivoting is simply the clearest sign that you've grown. Pivoting is not giving up on the vision. Now, yes, I know we love the idea of consistency, and especially for us old schoolers, or for those of us that were raised by old schoolers, we celebrate staying the course, or we love when someone has that staying power, But what we don't always talk about is the wisdom that it takes to recognize when the course itself needs an adjustment. A pivot doesn't mean that you were wrong before. It often means that you're more informed now. You have more perspective. And as this year comes to a close, a lot of us are really standing in that space, reflecting on what worked. We're thinking about what didn't. And we're considering what no longer fits the version of us that we're growing into. Now, as usual, I tend to share a little bit of my space with you, so let me be honest for a moment. There's been moments and seasons in my life where I've held on longer than I should have, not because it was right, but because it was familiar. And another significant point, and I really hope it helps somebody, I didn't want to look inconsistent. I didn't want to explain the change. And if I'm really honest, when you're in something, you often become its defender. You fight for every decision to make sense. You resist feedback because it feels like a threat. And you don't want to admit that what once fit no longer does. But know that perspective has a way of catching up with you. And I realized that staying out of fear looked responsible on the outside, but it was quietly throwing things out of order on the inside, and it cost me something. Does that sound familiar? I learned that delayed pivots create unnecessary weight. And sometimes the discomfort that you're feeling isn't resistance, it's information. It's your discernment literally saying that something here has shifted. And a pivot doesn't need a dramatic turn. Sometimes it's a change in pace, a boundary, or sometimes it's releasing an expectation, whether it be yours or someone else's. And sometimes the bravest pivot of all is admitting that this version of the plan got me here, but it won't take me forward. And as we step into a new year, I just really want you to hear me clearly. You do not owe anyone an old version of yourself. You don't owe loyalty to what no longer keeps you grounded. And you don't need permission from anyone else to adjust when your wisdom itself is calling you to an adjustment. The courage to pivot isn't loud. It's steady. It's thoughtful. It's choosing order and alignment over optics. It's choosing peace over pressure and sustainability over the need to prove a point. So here's your reflection as this year closes. What are you being invited to release, adjust, or reimagine? Not because you failed, but because you've grown. And as I've said before in previous episodes, an answer like that, friends, it doesn't require urgency. It just requires honesty. And if you allow yourself that honesty, your next step won't feel forced. It will feel steady and intentional. I'm Tabitha J, and this is Poised for Purpose. Keep walking it out, keep choosing alignment, and watch purpose meet you where you move. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who may be standing at a crossroads too. Screenshot it, send it, or tag me at the Tabitha J and let me know what part spoke to you most. And don't forget, the Ministry Leaders Edition is back. It drops Thursday for those who need a little faith-based fuel as we step into the new year. Don't forget, this season, we're not just talking purpose. We're learning how to live it with consistency, clarity, and character. I'll see you next time.